This happened about a year ago. My friend Jonah dared me to go into the old Westland Galleria, this mall that got shut down literally overnight a few years ago. One day it was open. The next, chain locked, lights off, food courts full of half-eaten meals still sitting on trays. The story goes that someone went missing inside, and the owners locked it down without warning. No explanation, no demolition, just silence. Of course, we wanted to see it for ourselves. We found a way in through a broken window around back. Once we got inside, I expected silence, dust, cobwebs, graffiti, but the air was cold, too cold, and the lights were still on, dim, flickering, but on. Music was playing over the speakers, an old pop song, like late 90s mallcore, and the weirdest part, it was on shuffle. We reached the food court, everything was still there. Trash trays, half-full cups, even a few purses and shopping bags, but no people, not even rodents. That's when I saw it. One of the tables had a hot pretzel on it. Fresh, warm. I swear. Steam was still rising off it. Then the music cut off. Dead silence. Then we heard a sound over the loudspeakers. Not music, not static. A voice, calm, slow, too soft to be mechanical. "You shouldn't be here." We froze. "Exit is closed." Then the lights dimmed, one by one. We bolted, back past the food court, through the shoe store, toward the entrance. And that's when Jonah grabbed my arm, his face went white. Behind us, down the corridor, someone was walking. Not running. Walking. A tall figure in a store uniform. No face, just skin stretched over where eyes and a mouth should be. It was pushing a cleaning cart. But the wheels weren't touching the ground, it was just gliding. We ran. Took a left down an escalator. But the level we hit wasn't the first floor. It was the same food court. Same pretzel. Same music, same dim lighting. We'd looped. I checked my phone. No signal. 1 a.m. Jonas said 1 a.m. too, but we'd been in there over an hour. We finally found a red exit door we hadn't seen before. Above it, "Employee access only, do not enter." We entered. Pitch black tunnel, smelled like mold and metal. We ran for what felt like 10 minutes. Then a door. We pushed it open, and we were back outside. Except, it wasn't the mall's exterior. It was the back hallway of a different mall, one that had been demolished a decade ago. We got out eventually. No idea how. Never went back. But here's the weirdest part. Sometimes I'll walk through a normal mall, and I'll hear that same song from the old speakers. Only for a second. And I swear, I always see someone in a faded uniform standing just at the end of the hall, waiting. Story 2. I've been exploring abandoned buildings for years. Old schools, churches, even a mine once. Nothing ever really scared me. It was all dead spaces and crumbling history. But the old St. Elora Medical Center was different. It was shut down in the late 90s after some kind of funding collapse. No demolition, no restoration, just locked up, forgotten. I'd seen the photos, wheelchairs frozen in place, charts still open, even rumors of power still running underground. So obviously I had to see it. I went alone. Midnight, full moon, backpack, flashlight, backup battery, water. The front entrance was chained shut, so I used a lower window. First thing I noticed, the air was too clean. Not musty, not moldy, just cold. And the lights, they were on. The entrance hallway still had hospital brochures on the walls. One light flickered. A soft buzz filled the air. Fluorescent tubes, running on power that shouldn't exist. I walked past empty exam rooms. Carts were still stocked, chairs pushed in. It didn't feel abandoned. It felt paused. In the nurse's station, the monitors still glowed. Vitals were active, pulsing green and red, heartbeats, blood pressure. But there were no patients, or so I thought. Down one hallway, I passed a room with the door ajar. Inside, someone was lying on the hospital bed, face covered, IV drip attached, monitors beeping. I backed away, quickly. No one should be here. I tried to tell myself it was staged, left behind. But when I turned to leave, the monitor flatlined. The way back wasn't the same. There were new signs on the walls, handwritten, smeared in red. Visitors not permitted beyond this point. We know you're here. Stop moving. The hallway stretched longer. Lights flickered more often. I passed another room, another patient, but this one was sitting up, eyes wide open and smiling. I ran, found a stairwell and took it down. The basement was worse. There was a surgical suite, lights still on, tools laid out, one still dripping. In the corner, a figure stood, back turned, coat soaked in something dark. They didn't move, but a whisper filled the room. You shouldn't have come back. I bolted, back up the stairs, back to the hallway, and only now, the layout was different. The rooms were reversed, doors were gone, and the signs now read, "You never left." One final turn led me to a locked fire exit. Behind the glass I saw something, my own reflection, but it was smiling and waving. I don't remember getting out. I just remember waking up in my car, engine running, sun rising. But I had something with me I didn't bring, a patient wristband with my name on it. And today in the mail I got a bill. St. Elora Medical Center emergency admission, room 303 status, under observation. Story 3. This story starts with a rumor. A theme park in my state, Sun Valley Springs, shut down years ago. Bankruptcy, lawsuits, safety violations, all the usual reasons. But the legend goes deeper. They say the park didn't go bankrupt. It was shut down overnight, mid-season. Like someone pulled the plug with no warning. People say it was cursed. That even after closing it still lights up at night. No workers, no rides running, just music and shadows. So, of course, I went. I arrived around 11:30 p.m. The outer gates were rusted, overgrown. But I could see lights inside, faint pink and blue glows like a carnival. I hopped a fence, landed hard, and crept forward. Everything was still. But the park wasn't dead. It was asleep. The speakers crackled. Carousel music drifted through the air. The smell of cotton candy was faint, but fresh. I passed the teacup ride. It was slowly spinning. No power lines attached, no operator booth lit up. The Ferris wheel, turning, just slightly, creaking, but with no wind. Then I saw the bumper cars. Every single car had its headlights on, but no one was inside. I ducked into the old prize booth to catch my breath. Inside was a dusty security monitor, still powered, 5 screens, all showing live feeds of different areas in the park. One showed the gate, another showed the food court, but one showed me inside the booth. Then the screen blinked, and the caption changed to, "Guest entered, January 1st. Ride begins in 0059. A voice came over the park's PA system, playful, robotic, slightly glitchy. "Welcome to Sun Valley Springs, where the fun never ends." I backed out of the booth. The lights turned on, full blast, all over the park, rides whirring, music flaring, games blinking, all at once. And then I heard footsteps behind me. Not one set, multiple, marching. I turned and saw them, park mascots. Oversized heads, fake fur, wide plastic smiles. But they didn't wobble like costumes. They moved, too smooth. One waved at me. Another held a balloon, A third dragged a limp leg but kept smiling. They moved toward me slowly, not running, like they knew I wouldn't leave. I sprinted toward the front gates, but they were sealed, chains thicker than I remembered. And above the gate, a new sign lit up. Thank you for joining our last guest experience. No re-entry, no exit. Stay fun. I don't remember how I got out, but now every time I pass an old carnival or drive by a faded billboard for a park that's gone, the lights are always flickering. Music is always faint in the distance. And sometimes I find old ride tokens in my pockets. On the back they say, "One last ride."